Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Valinda Sari with student ID number 234111103 from class MNJ23DX, Management Study Program, Universitas Teknokrat Indonesia. Welcome to this presentation. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic: health and safety in the workplace. Did you know that most workplace accidents are actually preventable? With just basic understanding and simple actions, we can create a work environment that is safe, healthy, and productive. Why is workplace health and safety so important? Because every worker deserves to return home safely after a day at work. In addition, a safe work environment increases productivity, reduces absenteeism, and builds trust between the company and its employees. Workplace accidents not only cause physical and mental harm, but also lead to financial losses for the company. So, what are the common risks in the workplace? Risks can vary greatly depending on the type of job. For example, in an office setting, risks may include poor sitting posture, scattered cables, or eye strain from staring at screens too long. In factory or field environments, the risks may be greater, such as slipping, exposure to chemicals, loud noise, or injuries from heavy equipment. Understanding these potential risks is the first step toward prevention. It is also important to understand the concepts of hazard and risk. A hazard is a potential source of harm, while a risk is the likelihood of injury or damage resulting from that hazard. For example, a wet floor is a hazard. The risk of injury occurs when someone walks over it without knowing that it's slippery. Therefore, identifying and assessing risks should be a routine activity. So, how can we prevent accidents? There are several key steps. First, identify potential hazards. Second, conduct a risk assessment. Third, implement control measures such as using personal protective equipment, PPE, following safe work procedures, and conducting regular training. Fourth, evaluate periodically to ensure that the safety system is working effectively. The roles of both management and employees are crucial in this matter. Management is responsible for providing the tools, training, and systems that support safety. On the other hand, employees must follow procedures with discipline, report unsafe conditions, and look out for one another. A safe work culture is built through shared commitment. Don't forget the aspect of occupational health. Stress, fatigue, poor posture, and lack of rest can reduce work performance and lead to accidents. Therefore, it's important to maintain a balance between work and rest, ensure proper ergonomics, and provide basic health facilities in the workplace. We must also be prepared for emergencies. Every workplace should have an evacuation procedure, assembly points, and emergency response training such as fire drills and first aid. The more prepared we are, the lower the risk of casualties during an emergency situation. And finally, remember that creating a safe workplace is not the responsibility of one person alone. It is a shared responsibility. Let's make safety a culture, not just an obligation, because safety is an investment, not an expense. Thank you for joining this presentation. I hope the information shared today can be applied in your workplace. Remember, work safely, go home safely. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. After understanding the importance of recognizing potential hazards and risks, the next step in creating a safe work environment is to build an integrated work safety system. This system is not just a set of written rules, but a series of policies, procedures, and work habits that are applied consistently throughout the organization. In practice, this system includes various components such as 1. A clear work safety policy, created by top management and socialized to all employees. 2. Standard work procedures (SOPs) that include safe steps in carrying out each task, including emergency procedures. 3. Routine training and counseling so that all employees, both new and old, understand how to work safely and how to use personal protective equipment (PPE) correctly. 4. Periodic supervision and inspection to ensure that all equipment is in good condition and all work areas are safe. 5. Incident reporting system both for accidents, near misses, and hazardous conditions that have the potential to pose a risk. We cannot talk about occupational safety without mentioning the role of personal protective equipment, PPE. PPE is the last protection used when potential hazards cannot be completely eliminated. Examples of PPE include safety helmets, protective shoes, work glasses, heat or chemical-resistant gloves, respiratory masks, and reflective vests. However, it should be remembered that PPE will not be effective if it is not used properly, or if workers do not understand when and how to use it. In addition to PPE, work ergonomics is also an important part of this discussion. Ergonomics is the science that studies how work, tools, and work environments are adjusted to suit human abilities and limitations. For example, chairs that can be adjusted in height, computer monitor positions that are parallel to the eye line, adequate lighting, to setting a break schedule to prevent fatigue. All of these things indirectly contribute to preventing muscle and bone disorders, stress, and decreased performance. Mental health is also inseparable from occupational safety. A stressful work environment, intimidation, or excessive workload can trigger chronic stress. In the long term, stress not only reduces productivity, but also increases the risk of accidents due to decreased concentration and decision-making. Therefore, companies need to provide psychological support, such as counseling rooms, humane working hour policies, and two-way communication between employees and management. We also need to discuss the important role of communication in maintaining workplace safety. Open and effective communication allows every employee to report hazards without fear, as well as to convey ideas for improvement. In a good work team, there is no culture of blame, but rather a culture of mutual assistance and shared responsibility for safety. Finally, it must be emphasized that efforts to create optimal workplace safety cannot be done only once. It must be part of the organizational culture, starting from recruitment, initial training, daily activities, to performance evaluations. Occupational safety is not a one-time project, but a long-term process that requires continuous evaluation, innovation, and learning from every incident that occurs. Because health and safety in the workplace, or health and safety in the workplace, is not just a theory or legal obligation that must be met by companies. It is the foundation of long-term work well-being and productivity. For the past few minutes, we have learned together how important it is to create a safe and healthy work environment. We have seen that risks in the workplace do not only occur in the heavy industry or construction sectors. Even in a seemingly simple work environment like an office, risks still exist. From my fatigue due to continuous computer use, unergonomic posture when sitting, to the risk of tripping over messy electrical cables. We have also discussed the basic concepts of work safety, namely hazard and risk, where hazard is the potential danger, and risk is the possibility of the danger becoming a reality. By understanding these two terms, we become more aware that every work activity, no matter how small, has the potential for danger that must be recognized and managed. We have also discussed systematic preventive measures, starting with identifying potential hazards, analyzing and assessing risks, implementing controls such as the use of PPE, developing safe work procedures, and ongoing training and education. All of these must be implemented consistently, and not just as a formality to meet regulations. However, the most important aspect of all is the culture of safety, a culture that is not owned by just one person or one department, but rather becomes a collective awareness. This culture is built through open communication, mutual care among colleagues, and commitment from leadership to always prioritize safety above all else. Because no matter how good the safety systems or equipment are, without awareness and concern, all of it can become meaningless. In addition, we also touched on the importance of maintaining occupational health, both physically and mentally. Fatigue, high job pressure, burnout, or prolonged stress can reduce focus, increase the risk of accidents, and lower work morale. Therefore, the workplace must also be a space that supports life balance, provides room for rest, healthy communication, and adequate health facilities. Toward the end, we also discussed the importance of emergency preparedness. Often, people only panic once a crisis occurs, whereas preparedness begins long before an incident. By having clear evacuation procedures, fire safety training, earthquake drills, and first aid training, we can minimize casualties and reduce the impact of disasters that may occur at any time. Dear friends and esteemed audience, today's material is in fact a call to change. A change to become individuals who are more caring, more vigilant, and more responsible. Not just for ourselves, but also for those around us. Because workplace safety is not merely about rules. It is a reflection of our respect for human life itself. Imagine if every company had a work culture that upheld safety. Imagine if every employee felt safe, healthy, and valued. Productivity would increase, turnover would decrease, accident-related costs would drop, and the work environment would become more harmonious. This is what we call a long-term investment. So let us all take part. There is no need to wait for a high position to start. Change can begin with small steps. Recognizing hazards around us, wearing personal protective equipment properly, following established work procedures, or simply reminding a colleague who might be unaware. Remember, safety does not belong to just one person. It is our shared responsibility. Let's change our mindset from viewing safety as a burden to seeing it as a valuable asset. Because in the end, working safely means we get to go home in one piece and meet our loved ones in good health. In conclusion, let us return to the core of everything we discussed today. That occupational health and safety is not a choice, it is a necessity. A safe and healthy workplace not only provides physical protection for employees, but also fosters a positive working environment, enhances productivity, and builds trust between the company and its entire team. We have learned that identifying potential hazards, understanding risks, and applying preventive measures are crucial first steps. But beyond that, building a strong and consistent safety culture is the key to long-term success. This culture can only be established when everyone, management, employees, even visitors or contractors, shares the same awareness and commitment to safety. Let us make safety not just a rule to follow, but a value we uphold in every work activity. Because in the end, safety is not just about personal protective equipment or work procedures. It is about valuing life, protecting health, and ensuring that everyone gets to return home safely. Thank you for attending this presentation. I hope the material shared today is useful and can be applied in your daily work life. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Work safely, return home comfortably. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
you.